What's going on, guys? Duelim here, back in with another video. And today, we're going to be talking about Dark Promotion credits and Dark Diamond credit tunes, who to upgrade first, what order you should upgrade them in, and if you should be saving for ones that aren't available yet. So if you're ready, let's get into it. All right, coming in, we are going to be listing all of the Dark Promotion credit tunes, and we're going to be listing them from how you should rank them, essentially, and how far you should take them. So we've got all the way 3 diamond, all the way down to 4 red. So we're just going to kind of go in order here. I'm going to skip the first 2 for obvious reasons. The first one is Green Goblin Classic. Now, for Green Goblin Classic, I have him at 3 diamond because I prioritize Cosmic Crucible. Personally, from an objective standpoint, overall in the game, I think he's going to land at 2 diamonds. And the reason why is because he's a great character. You're going to use him in Cosmic Crucible, but you're also going to get a lot of use for him in War as well. So the 2 kind of prime PvP game modes, he's going to get a lot of use out of, and I've seen his damage just go absolutely ridiculous as well when you got a lot of diamonds on him. Like I said, I have him at 3 diamond on my account, but that's because I focus Cosmic Crucible, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me. But I would recommend just in general, let's just leave him at 2 diamonds. For Zombie Juggernaut, next up, I think he should be stopped right around 5, maybe 6 red, honestly. And the reason why is he can start messing up some of your counters, actually, especially if you're trying to do that like Undying Doom APOC. Because Zombie Juggernaut passive, every charge he gets, I think it's like 30% extra damage. So if he's got 5 charges, he's got 150% extra damage. He's got like something crazy like 250,000 damage or something like that. And he's pretty much going to take the ride over your Apocalypse every single time. So that can kind of get hairy. But if you really focus on War a lot, I would say move him up to 6 red. Maybe even 7 red if you're really into War. But I would say objectively, let's keep him at 6, maybe 5 red for right now, and we can adjust as we keep talking about this. But don't get me wrong, he is a great character, and he scales super well with stats. But there's other options that are better. Just like the next one we're going to talk about, Apocalypse. Apocalypse, without a doubt, is 3 diamond. There's no question about it at all. Apocalypse needs to go to 3 diamond. He is probably the best Dark Promotion character that you can get up to 3 diamonds right now. Without a shadow of a doubt, he is the best character that they're available for right now. He goes all the way to 3 diamonds immediately, goes to 7 red as quickly as possible as well too. He is a ridiculous character that will help you so much because you got to remember you get that Falcon Punch, that one-shot mechanic that counters Black Knight a lot, really helps you with Old Man Logan's as well. So he's definitely at the top of the list here, a guaranteed 3 diamond. Next up, we've got Black Cat, and Black Cat's an interesting one. I think her value has fallen off a lot recently because of the lack of use of Black Cat in Arena. And now you can say, yes, there's some niche uses for Black Cat right now in Arena because Dormammu's kind of making a comeback to counter the Old Man Logan meta that's going on right now. But objectively, I would say put her at 7 red. I don't think she's available for diamonds yet, but I wouldn't even put any diamonds on her even when she's available for diamonds. I don't think there's a point of it whatsoever, honestly. Unless you've got a lot of spare diamonds and you've already done whoever else I put on the top here, then she would be pretty close to next. But we will talk about that as well, based on if you're already done with 3 diamond, 2 diamond, 1 diamond, who you should go in order for 7 red next, or making 1 diamond next. But yeah, Black Cat I think is a really solid 7 red star and stop. Maybe 6 if you're hurting a little bit more on DPC characters and Dark Promotion credits. But she's a really good character. She's got an awesome plug-and-play mechanic for stealing revives. So that's going to help you in Cosmic Crucible right now in room number 5 where villains get revives. She's also got a great passive mechanic where she does not let any bio character spawn with speed up. So that just neuters Tangled Web right off rip because 2099 won't spawn with speed up. So she's a really good character that also neuters a decent amount of the Spider Society, because I think 3 of them are bio, if I'm not mistaken. So like Gwen Spider, Peter B, and then I think Pav is also bio, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's skill in bio. So she's a good counter to them as well, and a lot of people have big Spider Society. So 7 red, I think, is a good stopping point for her. Next up, we've got Big Time Spider-Man, and this one... Yeah, 4 red. Unless you guys are really into war, I would say leave him at 4 red. I personally have him at 0 red because I have more important upgrades in my opinion. Now, I did take him to G19 because he is extremely cheap and he is very useful to get into city a lot quicker because the city nodes are an absolute joke. It's literally just Robbie Reyes and 4 other idiots that get you in. Now, again, if you're super into war, yeah, you can bring him up. He's getting boosted with the war season changes right now for the Hero Spider-Verse characters on defense. Also, he's a really good character in countering Black Knight in Cosmic Crucible as well because his ultimate rips off all those positive effects. But he doesn't need to be that big to do that. So even at 0 red, 7 yellow, G19, he's able to pull off of a 3 diamond Black Knight from what I've been able to see and from my own personal experiences. So there's really not much of a use for it all the time because he's doing what he needs to do at lower red stars. And there's more important characters to take up, in my opinion, like Nova. Nova is going to be the next one. I think Nova has some really good uses. He's obviously a war character, but he's also become really good plug and play in Crucible as well for that turn 1, 126 speed stun, as well as his ultimate battlefield effect, which is also a permanent kill. So that's really, really effective. Honestly, I think he's okay at 6 red though. Unless you're really taking war into account and he's not doing things for you in war that you need him to be doing because you guys are taking war pretty seriously, then you can take him up to 7 red. Even at that point, I would say probably stop and don't even bother putting diamonds on him because I don't think diamonds are really going to fix your problem at that point. Honestly, I think at the 7 red, you're good. But if you're not that into war, I think 6 red's a good stopping point. Personally, I have him at 5 red, and I'm most likely going to take him to 6 red and stop because he is a really good character. There's just been, I'm just kind of playing on the cautious side because there are a lot of characters that are not available for Dark Promotion credits right now, like Old Man Logan, that I'm really cautious on because I know the second I waste all my Dark Promotion credits, Old Man Logan's going to be announced and I'm going to regret it. But yeah, I'll stick at 6 red for Nova for right now. Next up is Quicksilver, and Quicksilver is a really good plug-and-play character. We see him on defense a lot with Infinity Watch in Cosmic Crucible, or on defense with Heroes for Hire in War, and he messes up the Pegasus counter, especially if he's really big. And honestly, I'm going to drop him at 7 red, and I'm going to actually put him in front of Black Cat. So I feel like Quicksilver, you should take to 7 red before Black Cat. Because Quicksilver is more stat reliant than Black Cat is. So I feel like Quicksilver is much better at 7 red in front of Black Cat because of that reliance on stats. I'd actually debate taking him to diamonds, and I may move him up when I'm closer to the end here and I see less people worthy of diamonds, because he's a really, really, really good character, honestly. His stats are ridiculous. You got to remember, he takes 2 turns for every 1 turn he takes, so his damage is technically doubled. I think he's at like 126,000 damage at 7 red, but technically he's taking 2 turns, so that's really awesome. He removes a charge mechanic. He puts out his own vulnerable with an ult and clears all positive effects from the enemies as well. So he does a lot of really, really good things. So he's a great character and a great plug-and-play character. He's also another way you can counter Black Knight. I have seen a lot of resistance issues with Quicksilver against Black Knight, not being able to take off those charges, so be wary of that. That would need more stats, obviously, which means getting into the diamonds. But for right now, I'll put him at the top of the 7 red category. Next up is Archangel, and as of right now, if you're just unlocking Archangel, I would say leave him all the way at the bottom of 4 red. I have him at 5 red because he was a pretty good character when he came out. He was a good raid character. There were a lot of uses for him in some war counters as well when the Death Seed team first came out. And he was a pretty cool character. He was definitely the worst of the horsemen, no doubt. But if you're just unlocking him now, leave him at 4 red. There's no reason to take him higher, honestly. He does everything he needs to do, which honestly is just ride the bench right now. You really don't need him for much unless you're using him as a very niche plug-and-play on defense in Cosmic Crucible to make sure like Undying doesn't beat it, or on offense going against an Undying team or something like that. But again, his uses are so niche, definitely not worth it. Next up is Zombie Iron Man, and this is going to be the one that I also leave at 4, but I'll put him in the top of the 4 red category. I have purchased 0 Zombie Iron Man Dark Promotion credits, but we got the pass, so he was in the pass there. So I do have 4 red on him, and honestly, I'm not missing any damage from him at all. I feel like if you need more damage on your Undying, you bring up Zugs before you bring up Zombie Iron Man, right? And Zombie Iron Man's mostly a kit-based character, and all of his damage comes from his passive. When enemies have bleed, they just hit each other. So he's not really doing a lot of damage. It's more he's making the enemy do damage to themselves. So he doesn't need a lot of stats to do that. Also, I've been able to run him as a striker at 7 yellow, 4 red, and he has landed every single thing I can imagine with his special and ultimate. I've had no resistance issues whatsoever. So again, taking him up doesn't solve an issue I'm having every single day. So that's why I'm leaving him at 4 red. He's a very luxury 5 red, 6 red, and he's not a bad character to take up if you just got Dark Promotion credits lying around. Definitely better than Big Time Spider-Man and Archangel in my opinion, because Archangel's riding the bench, and Big Time Spider-Man is also kit-based for the one thing he does really well, which is taking off those buffs from Black Knight, which he does at 0 reds. But yeah, I'll leave Zombie Iron Man at the top of the 4 reds. As for Red Hulk, absolutely the best horseman, without a doubt. He is an absolute nuts character, especially paired with Apocalypse, just him and Apocalypse. He gives that 10% extra speed when he gets to special. And remember, Red Hulk has a speed of 133, so then he gives that 10% speed to Apocalypse, which gives Apocalypse base speed at 122, gives him another 10%, so it's really 12 more speed, so then he's going all the way up to 134, so he's usually going right after Red Hulk, and that's a great combo to have. And also, Red Hulk takes off revives when you do the special on the primary target, but when you have APOC as an ally, you also take off on the adjacent allies, the adjacent enemies as well. So it's a great character, and he's always a ticking time bomb as well. He's a really, really good plug-and-play character. I'm going to put him in front of Quicksilver, actually, if I can get it there. Yep, in front of Quicksilver. Honestly, I'd say take him to a diamond. Because his survivability is pretty bad outside of Gamma, but his damage is nothing to snooze at whatsoever. And especially if he gets that battlefield effect out from his ultimate, it just does more damage because it's based on his stats. And I think that Apocalypse Red Hulk combo is going to stay in the meta for the longest possible, essentially as long as Apocalypse is in the meta, because it's just going to make APOC better and better because of that speed bonus you get. So I'm going to put him at 1 diamond, but be cautious because he is becoming more and more niche if you're not putting him with APOC, because if you're not pairing him with Apocalypse, you're pretty much not using him unless it's in war, obviously with full Gamma or Gamma APOC. But I think 1 diamond is a pretty safe place to put him at, and I'm pretty confident to say he's a really good character to stay there. Next up is Rogue. Rogue has surprised me lately because of Extreme coming out, and also because of Old Man Logan coming out, right? So Rogue was a character that was honestly just terrible on release. She just was essentially called the minion of the Horseman team. Her team was terrible as well. Unlimited. It was literally Gambit, Rogue, and 3 absolute idiots that were just not worth anything. They were really terrible. And honestly, now I'm going to put her all the way at 2 diamonds. And this is going to be predicated based on if Extreme stays in the meta for a very long time, which I think is going to happen because Nightcrawler is an extremely good character. Forge is a great healer that can do a revive as well. And then we also have Gambit, who just got that rework. So he's a really great character doing those pings, the special with the charge mechanic, giving speed up and dodge. And then his ultimate is devastating, can't miss. So that team's going to stay in the meta for a long time, and Rogue is the absolute best fifth to put on that team if you want to drop Sunspot. So I'm going to put her at 2 diamonds, which is absolutely crazy. If you told me I thought she was worthy of putting dark diamonds on about a year ago, I would have told you you're absolutely out of your mind. But Extreme has really bolstered her uses, because if you put Rogue with Extreme in Cosmic Crucible or in War, Rogue's going to get the reflexive taunt, and the tankier that Rogue is, the slower people are going to get through that Rogue to be able to get off that taunt. So if you're stuck on that taunt for a long time, that's going to really, really mess with some counters. So I'm putting her all the way at 2 diamonds. Crazy, crazy. I never thought that would happen. Next up is Morgan Le Fay, and I do have her at 7 red, and I got her at 7 red essentially right off rip when I could, because she was by far the best horseman when she came out, and then Red Hulk ended up coming out, and Red Hulk was like, okay, cool, this is what another really good horseman looks like. But Morgan Le Fay is another really, really good character. Also just got her uses upped as well, because she counters Old Man Logan pretty well, just like Rogue does. But Morgan Le Fay can be stuck behind a taunt and still counter Old Man Logan. So Morgan Le Fay's ult will put trauma and ability block on any controllers on the field. Old Man Logan is a controller, so that will really neuter Old Man Logan. And Morgan Le Fay is at 124 speed. Old Man Logan's at 120, so Morgan Le Fay will always go before him as well, which is really nice. So Morgan Le Fay is a really good character, but I haven't noticed any resistance issues with her at 7 red. So that's why I'm going to say stop at 7 red for her. And honestly, if you end up having resistance issues, just put Skirmisher on her, and then she'll definitely land this stuff. And I'm going to even put her at the bottom of the 7 reds, because Darkhold as a team has fallen off so much, unless you're trying to counter Infinity Watch in Cosmic Crucible, or War even. But Darkhold as a whole has fallen off a lot. So I'm going to leave her at the bottom of the 7 reds, still below Black Cat and Quicksilver. Next up is our favorite Flaming Skull Man. That is Dormammu. He was the reward for Dark Dimension 5. He's got an incredible, incredible kit. And what a lot of people don't know about him is he's a support, and his health is absolutely ridiculous. We're probably going to end up taking him to DD7, because he is one of the essentially 5 mythics that are worth taking up. That being Kestrel, Apoc, Super Skrull, Dorm, and Doom. So it's essentially between Dorm and Doom. So I'm going to put him at 1 diamond, but I'm going to put him ahead of Red Hulk. And because his stats are so good with the diamonds, that's why he's ahead of Red Hulk, because he benefits from the stats more than Red Hulk does. And Dormammu, the longer he stays alive, the better, because he's going to get that charge mechanic up from his special. And in this meta, he's a relatively slow character at 118. So him getting to his 2nd turn to be able to ult is pretty hard, especially if he doesn't have a lot of red stars or diamonds on him to make him survive long enough. So I'd absolutely put Dormammu at 1 diamond to make sure he survives better. I know at like 3 diamond, he's got like 5 or 6 million health, which is pretty nutty. I don't think he's worth that high, but he would be my first on my list to bring up to 2 diamond after I do APOC, GGC, and Rogue for sure, because he's a really good character, and his revive mechanic is always going to be really great in the meta, even though Black Cat counters it. His charge mechanic's always really great. His ultimate rebalance is always kind of a ticking time bomb that you have to worry about, so Dorm is always going to be a really good character in the meta. Next up is Doom, and the answer on how high you should take Doom is very, very subjective to each one of you, right? So I currently have him at 5 red, okay? And right now, I'm experiencing minimal issues, some issues of him dying, in the battles I take him into. So bringing him to 6 red is going to be one of my priorities right now, because I'm realizing the people I'm facing are getting stronger and stronger, right? The better you do in war, the better you do in Crucible, all that kind of stuff. The enemies you're going to face are going to get stronger, right? So before, at 5 red, he was doing fine, right? But then the level cap increased. We've had diamonds come out for Green Goblin Classic. We've had a lot of stuff change. So Doom has been dying on me. So I'm going to be taking him up to 6 red almost immediately, honestly, and then see how he performs there. And if I still have issues with him dying, he will be my first one to take to 7 red, because of it's an issue. Him dying is an issue, right? Now, it could change based on if you're about to G19 him, because if you're getting close to being able to G19 him, you might be able to save those Dark Promotion credits and save them for other characters, because you're most likely going to take Doom to Dark Dimension 7 instead of Dorm, because Dormammu's 5 Mystic pieces, and Doom is only 2 Tech and 2 Mystic, so he's split. So taking him to G19 could fix your survivability issues where you don't have to take him to 6 red, 7 red, or anything like that. But I'm going to do it anyway, because I really like Doom as a character, and he's always going to be a great, great character that's going to be in the meta to take people on the Doom ride and take 3 turns in a row. So he's going to be worth it for a really long time. So I'm going to take him to 6 red, and he would be my first to take to 7 red, honestly. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put him in the bottom of 7 red because of how good of a character he is in his ult with the time platform. Next up is Ultron, and if you were here when Masters of Evil released, we all have Ultron at 5 stars. And honestly, just leave him at 5 stars. I'd put him even just barely above Archangel at 4 stars, honestly. I would say I'd take Big Time Spider-Man up to 4 stars over Ultron if you don't already have those 5 stars. I'd take Zim before him as well, because he's just a meh character. I'm sure Benny Westside is just cringing right now because he absolutely adores Ultron, and he's like, Ultron should be here. And I'm like, nah, buddy, Ultron should be here. He's riding the bench a lot for MOE, unfortunately, because you put better characters like Doom, APOC, and stuff like that, just better characters who are obviously higher on this list over Ultron to make sure that team has more survivability, more health, more damage, has the Doom ride, whatever it might be. So Ultron's going to be in the 4 red. Sorry, Benny. I love you, buddy, but I don't love Ultron, man. And next up, Ultimus. That's right, the bottom. It's a shame because Ultimus has a very interesting kit. He kind of counters pre-taunting tanks, which is really interesting, and like taunters in general, which is really interesting. And I think it would be cool if he could be like a plug-and-play character that rips off a pre-taunt on spawn, like there's no pre-taunts, or nobody can gain taunt ever, because that would mess for like Mercs for Money. That would mess with MOE, because they wouldn't have that pre-taunt there. But unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not the reality we have right now. Ultimus is one of the worst characters in the game and deserves to be on the absolute bottom, even below Ultron and even below Archangel. So next up are going to be the 3 that are not available for diamonds right now. But you always want to be looking to the future, right? You always want to be prepped and ready to go for whatever is to come. So for these 3 characters here, Super Skrull first. Super Skrull is an automatic 3 diamond. Without a shadow of a doubt, Super Skrull is 3 diamond, period, plain, simple. No matter what, he is going to 3 diamond. Now, I think Apocalypse is still a better choice to 3 diamond than Super Skrull. Because APOC relies on damage so much to be able to do that one shot, which is kind of his trademark, what makes him one of the best characters in the game. And he needs the stats to be able to do that. Super Skrull has a kit that bolsters him to mean he's so much better than just his stats, right? He's got his massive health pool without, diamonds. He's got his 50% passive mechanic that even if you spawn without 100% health, he could do that passive mechanic again. So exhaust doesn't do anything to that. His special is a turn meter rewind, puts out exposed. His ultimate flips, puts defense down, trauma on everybody. His basic gives him safeguard. Like, he's a ridiculous character, right? But that's why he doesn't need as many stats, because he's such a good character. And Honestly, I feel like by the time you have APOC at 3 diamonds, most of us do already, or we're really, really on the precipice of getting him to 3 diamonds, that by that time we can put Super Scroll at 3 diamonds and not have an issue. But you're going to need to save for that, right? So that's a big thing because Super Scroll diamonds are not available yet, and we don't know where they're coming from, when they're coming, or where they're coming from. Probably going to be an auction, obviously, and then they'll come out for us. Next up is Black Knight, and Black Knight is absolutely ridiculous. He is also going to be 3 diamonds. He's actually going in front of Super Scroll. And you know what? He's going in front of Apocalypse. That's right. Black Knight, I feel like, is most worthy of your Dark Promotion credits and your Dark Diamond credits. He is a nuisance in every single game mode we have right now. He is in every arena team you see. Every time you see him in Cosmic Crucible, that room immediately gets way more dangerous. It can be literally the 4 idiots of Out of Time, and then it's Black Knight, and all of a sudden that room is ridiculous. It can be 4 subpar characters. It could be like Infinity Watch, and everybody knows how to counter Infinity Watch except for me, right? And then you throw Black Knight in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, Black Knight's in there. I'm going to have to take this a little bit more seriously now. Like, Black Knight just changes things. He is the best pre-taunting tank we've ever had. His ping mechanic is ridiculous. He heals from it because you've got him at Blue Fire 5. If you don't, you should. And just his health pool is nuts. And the bigger his health pool gets and the more armor he gets, the more damage he does with his ultimate, the more damage he does with his reflexive pings from his charge mechanic. And the only thing that really counters him is an exhaust. That's pretty much it. So he's an absolutely ridiculous character, and he is your first 3 diamond choice. Now, for Old Man Logan, as of right now, obviously we don't have any red stars available for him outside of the trials. But once he is available for red stars, he will be number 1 on the red star list. If the website wants to work, there we go. He will be number 1 on the red star list, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And then the second his diamonds come out, he's going right here. He's going in front of Apocalypse and in front of Super Scroll. Without a doubt, Old Man Logan is just as much of a nuisance as Black Knight, honestly. If you don't focus down Old Man Logan, you regret your life decisions. And he will 1v5 your team with 2 exhausts on him. And he's done it to me. He's ridiculously strong, and he's so good. And he is stat reliant. The more damage he gets, the more drain he does, because he's got 100% drain on his ult, and I think his special, if I'm not mistaken. The more health he has, the harder he is to kill or get below that 50% health range, so you can't rewind him, and you can't stun him. And he's just so impossible to control. And then every time you try to hit him to get him below that 50% life, guess what? He's getting 20% speed bar. And then if the enemy has bleed, he's got another 30% turn meter on him, or 30% speed on him and his whole team. He also counters Black Knight extremely heavily. But most people are having him on defense because of how good he is on defense in Cosmic Crucible. In War, unfortunately, they get countered by Underworld, which is ridiculous. That needs to be fixed somehow. But it is what it is. I digress. But this is going to be my tier list here. And honestly, looking at this, I don't see a lot of changes personally being made here. Black Knight, number 1, without a doubt. Old Man Logan, APOC, Sus. Honestly, you could kind of interchange Sus and APOC here. But I don't think you can really deny these 2. I think these is like 1A and 1B. These are tied for first place here. Number 2, 2 diamonds on Green Goblin Classic because of his uses in War and Cosmic Crucible. Rogue because of her uses in War and Cosmic Crucible. You could argue that Dormammu could be 2 diamonds in front of Rogue because Dormammu is used in Arena as of now lately because of the Old Man Logan meta and War and Cosmic Crucible. Red Hulk, 1 diamond because his stats are going to fall off a little bit, but I think he's going to be a power couple with APOC for a long time, so he's going to be great. Quicksilver, really stat-based, really great character. Black Cat doesn't really need the stats, honestly, but she does hit really hard at 7 red. She's a really great character, so there's no issues with taking her to 7 red. You won't regret that at all. Morgan Le Fay, you could probably stop at 6 with her if you really need to. Actually, I'm going to put her at 6 here. because I haven't had anybody complaining to me about resistance issues. I don't know if I can put her in front of Nova. Just imagine she's in front of Nova, please. Thanks. But Doom, I would say, takes a 7 red because we use Doom in a lot of places, and a lot of people are disappointed with Doom. So what do? You take him higher so he survives. Next up, Nova. Again, a great plug-and-play character, but mainly for war, but he is good in Cosmic Crucible. Zuggs does what he needs to do at lower red stars, but if you've got some extra lying around and you really, really love war, he's a great character to take up, maybe even before Nova if the Nowhere team isn't failing you. And then the bottom of the barrel here, these are the kit-based characters or just the trash can characters that just don't need the help, in my opinion, whatsoever. So that's going to be my tier list, and that is it. I hope this helped you guys out, and I really, really hope you guys got some useful information from this, because this did take a long time. This took 30 minutes. This was a long one. Wow. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. A lot of people have been making tier lists, and by a lot, I mean Run 7, so that's where I got this idea from. Thanks, Run. But until next time, this has been Duelim. Later, y'all.